I want to stay with Mom and her boyfriend, Jason said. He lets me drive his new Corvette, and Mom said he might be our real dad anyway. My heart didn't just stop, it shattered. I was standing in the hallway, frozen, breath caught in my throat. My 10-year-old son had just said something no father should ever hear. Emily whispered, "But what about Dad?" Jason laughed. "Mom says he's weak. She only stayed with him for the house." I dropped the grocery bag. The sound made them scream. They didn't know I was home. That night, I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't say a single word. I just walked into our bedroom, sat down on the edge of the bed, and stared at her, Nicole, as she scrolled through Instagram like nothing had happened. She looked up, annoyed. "What?" I blocked her credit cards that night. I took only what I needed. My passport, a few grand in cash. And I walked out of that house with my head spinning. The next morning, my daughter called me in tears. And what she told me shattered the last piece of me that was still holding on. Emily's voice was shaking. "Dad, I didn't mean to tell you like this," she sniffled. "But she's been lying to you for years." I was standing in a cheap motel room off Route 17. The walls were yellowed, the air smelled like cheap perfume and regret, and the buzzing neon light outside made the place feel like a crime scene. "She told Jason that her boyfriend might be our real dad," Emily said. "And I think it's Mr. Bennett." I sat down hard on the edge of the bed. Mr. Bennett. My boss. The guy who gave me a job when I was broke. The guy who smiled at me every Monday morning like we were family. And he was the one sleeping with my wife? "Are you sure?" I whispered, my voice barely holding together. Emily was crying. "I saw them, Dad. In the kitchen, last year. He kissed her. I thought it was an accident, but then they laughed. She saw me and told me not to tell you, or you'd leave and we'd be homeless." I clenched the phone so hard I thought it might snap. It wasn't just the affair. It was the manipulation. The way she used my own kids as a shield to keep her secret intact. I thought I was working late to provide for my family. Turns out I was working late so she could screw around in our house, while my kids learned to keep secrets from me. That evening, I drove back to the house. Not to talk. Not to scream. I wanted to see it. With my own eyes. I parked a few blocks away and walked the rest of the way in the rain. No umbrella. Just cold fury soaking through my jacket. And there it was. Through the front window, I saw Nicole laughing with Bennett. Wearing the black silk robe I bought her for our anniversary. The robe she used to wear just for me. She kissed him. Slow. Deliberate. Then she looked toward the window. I stepped back into the shadows. She didn't see me. Or maybe she did, and didn't care. I waited until he left, then walked right in the front door like a ghost. She was in the kitchen pouring wine. "Oh," she said, startled. "You're back." "You didn't even flinch," I said quietly. "Not even surprised?" She smirked. "You left. What did you expect? Me to cry over it?" "No," I replied. "But I thought you'd have the decency to not invite him over the same night." Nicole took a sip of wine, leaned against the counter like she was the one betrayed. "Oh, please," she rolled her eyes. "Don't act like a victim. You were always working, always tired, always boring. Bennett at least knows how to make me feel like a woman." I almost laughed. "You mean he knows how to cheat his wife while banging mine in our kitchen?" Her eyes lit up with something I hadn't seen before, rage. "Don't pretend you didn't know," she snapped. "Everyone else did. Maybe you're just too pathetic to admit it." I stepped back. The truth was worse than I imagined. Not only was she cheating, she was proud of it. She wanted me to break. She enjoyed it. "I already blocked your cards," I said calmly. "I'll be filing for divorce this week." She chuckled. "Good. Maybe I'll finally get the house." I nodded. "We'll see." But inside, something broke. Not just from the betrayal. From the fact that I spent over a decade loving a woman who never existed. She was a character. A mask. And I never saw behind it until now. And the worst part? She didn't even flinch. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in my car outside the house until the sun came up, watching the shadows move across the windows, wondering how long it had all been a lie. Every dinner, every birthday, every late-night cuddle where she whispered she loved me, was any of it real? No, not a damn thing. I drove straight to work. Not because I wanted to be there, but because I had to look Bennett in the eyes before I made my next move. He walked into the office like usual. Polished suit, stupid smile, that confident strut he always had. The kind of guy who's never heard the word consequence. "Morning, brother," he grinned at me. "Rough weekend." I stared at him. Cold. Silent. His smirk faded just a little. "Something wrong?" I nodded. "Yeah, I know." He blinked. Once. Twice. Then tried to laugh it off. Know what? That you've been screwing my wife in my house. He froze. Silence. Then he chuckled nervously. Whoa, man, let's not jump to conclusions. You kissed her in my kitchen, while my daughter watched. You told my son you'd buy him a car. You made yourself their real dad. So don't insult me by pretending. Bennett's jaw twitched. You don't want to do anything stupid, he muttered, his tone shifting. You've got a pension, benefits. And you've got a wife, I snapped. Maybe I'll let her know how many late meetings you've had this year. He went pale. Yeah, he didn't think I had that in me. He didn't think I was a threat. Just another quiet husband he could outshine and humiliate. He had no idea I was done being the fool. I handed in my resignation that same day, but not before copying every shady invoice, every manipulated report, and every email Bennett ever sent on company time. I emailed it all to corporate. With a smile. He was fired by 4 p.m. Nicole called me that night. 14 missed calls. Left 8 voicemails. The last one was her screaming, "What the hell did you do? You ruined everything." Yeah, I did. But I wasn't finished yet. The next day, I contacted a private investigator I knew from back when I worked security. Told him everything. Asked him to dig. Not just on Nicole, but on Bennett too. I wanted to know every secret they thought was buried. I wanted to burn it all down. That night, I drove by the house again. Jason was outside tossing a football in the yard. He saw my car, ran toward it, but then stopped halfway. He looked conflicted. I rolled down the window. Hey, bud. He walked up slowly. Are you mad at me? I shook my head. Not at you. Never at you. He looked down. I didn't mean to pick Mom over you. I just thought she'd be happier. And the car. I forced a smile. You're a kid. You're supposed to want cars. He looked back at the house. She's not happy. She yells a lot. She even slapped Emily yesterday when she asked where you were. My blood ran cold. She what? Jason looked scared. Please don't tell her I said that. I nodded slowly, my mind already spiraling. This wasn't just about betrayal anymore. It wasn't just about pride or heartbreak. Now it was about protecting my kids from the woman I used to sleep beside every night. The woman who once swore she'd never hurt them. But she was hurting them. And that meant war. 3 days after I handed over my resignation and nuked Bennett's career, the private investigator texted me a single sentence. You'll want to see this in person. I met him at a small diner on the outskirts of town. Old place, always smelled like burnt coffee and bacon grease. He was sitting in a corner booth with a laptop and a manila folder that looked like it had been pulled from a courtroom. Her name's not Nicole Taylor, he said, before I even sat down. Not legally. I froze mid-step. Come again. She changed her name 10 years ago. Real name? Nicole Reeves. She has a sealed record in Nevada and a bankruptcy filing under the name Reeves in Arizona. Not only that, he slid the folder toward me. She was married before. Twice. I sat down. Slowly. You're telling me I'm husband number 3? Technically? Number 4. The first one died under suspicious circumstances. But nothing ever stuck. I opened the file, hands trembling. Photos. Court records. A restraining order filed by some guy named Mark Whitaker. Statements about manipulation, threats, even psychological abuse. Same eyes. Same smile. Same woman. My heart was thundering in my chest like I'd run a marathon. He leaned closer. Your wife's a black widow type, man. She's done this before. She finds decent guys, sucks them dry emotionally and financially, and then disappears. Or buries them. I couldn't breathe. I'd married a goddamn sociopath. She's also been meeting with a real estate attorney, he added, flipping his laptop toward me. She's trying to refinance the house behind your back. If she succeeds, you're screwed. She gets the property, and you get the debt. I stared at the screen. Nicole, no, Reeves was standing next to a man in a gray suit outside a bank. Smiling. Like she hadn't just ripped my soul in half. She wasn't just cheating. She was planning a full wipeout, erase me from the house, from the kids, from everything we built. And I'd nearly walked away without fighting back. But now? Now I had fire in my blood. I thanked the investigator and walked out of that diner with my pulse pounding in my ears. I didn't go back to my motel. I didn't eat. I didn't sleep. I drove straight to the county clerk's office and started paperwork to freeze any legal changes to the property. If she wanted war, she was getting scorched earth. That night, I hacked into our shared cloud drive. She never changed the password. I went through every folder, every photo, every file. And that's when I found it. A video. Titled only, March 17th, Hotel Room. Curiosity got the best of me. I clicked play. There she was. Nicole. In lingerie. With Bennett. They were laughing, drunk. She looked straight into the camera and said, "If my idiot husband ever finds this, I hope he knows I fake it every single time. He's useless. A paycheck with a pulse." I slammed the laptop shut. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just stared at the wall while my own heart turned to ice. I couldn't believe I ever loved this woman. I couldn't believe I shared my life with someone who saw me as disposable. I was done trying to walk away peacefully. She wanted destruction? I'd give her a legacy of regret she'd never recover from. By the time the weekend hit, Nicole thought she had me cornered. She had no idea the walls were closing in on her. I'd frozen all joint assets, put the house under legal injunction, even filed for an emergency hearing to gain temporary custody of the kids. The video? The investigator's file? The restraining order from her past? I attached it all, but I didn't tell her. I wanted her to feel safe, secure, arrogant, because that's when people like her make mistakes. Saturday afternoon, she texted me like nothing happened. "We need to talk about selling the house. Let's meet at 6. Be civil." Civil? That was rich, coming from the woman who bragged about faking everything in bed and called me a paycheck with a pulse. I texted back. Sure, one last talk. But I wasn't coming alone. I showed up early, parked 2 blocks away. The PI sat in his car across the street with a dash cam rolling, and I had a recorder in my pocket, just in case. At exactly 5:58, Nicole pulled up in that ridiculous white Lexus Bennett probably bought for her. She got out dressed like she was heading to a damn date, tight black dress, heels, that smug smirk that used to make me melt and now just made my stomach turn. She walked up the porch like she still owned everything. When she stepped inside, she looked around like she was casing her next target. "Where are the kids?" she asked. "Safe," I said flatly. "And not with you." She rolled her eyes. "Oh, here we go. The victim act again. You've always been so fragile." I didn't flinch. "You wanted to talk," I said. "So talk." She sauntered to the kitchen island and leaned on it, like this was just another game. "I want you to sign the release forms," she said. "You walk away clean. I keep the house, the car, and custody until court. We both know I'm the better parent." I almost laughed. "You slapped Emily." She froze, then tried to recover. She was mouthing off "You slapped my daughter and told my son a stranger might be his real father." Her eyes narrowed. "Don't twist things. They're my kids too." I stepped closer, eyes locked on hers. "No. You used them. Like you used me." And then I pulled out the manila envelope and tossed it on the counter. She hesitated before opening it. Her face dropped. You went digging through my past?" I didn't answer. "Those records are sealed." They were. Not anymore. She flung the folder off the counter. "You think this is going to stop me?" "No," I said. "But this might." I hit play on my phone. The audio started instantly. Her voice. "If my idiot husband ever finds this, I hope he knows I fake it every single time. He's useless. A paycheck with a pulse." Nicole's face drained of color. She lunged for the phone. I stepped back. "Touch me again, and the cops get this too," I warned. Her voice shook now. "You're recording this?" "No," I said. "But he is." I nodded toward the front window. She turned and saw the PI's car. The light on the dash cam was blinking red. Nicole stared at me like she didn't recognize the man standing in front of her. Because I wasn't her puppet anymore. I wasn't scared. And I sure as hell wasn't backing down. I leaned in just enough to let her see the fury behind my calm. "Keep pushing, and I'll show the kids every lie you ever told. I'll send that video to your parents, your church, every friend you pretend to care about." "You wouldn't." "I already did." She gasped. And that was the first time I saw her scared. The next day, Nicole was in full attack mode. She did what narcissists do best, flip the story. By Monday morning, she was posting on Facebook like she was the victim. A full-blown sob story. Crocodile tears in every line. After years of emotional neglect, I finally stood up for myself. Please respect my privacy during this heartbreaking time. All I ever wanted was to feel seen and heard. Seen and heard? Is that what she was doing in a hotel room with my boss while our kids were watching Disney Plus in the living room? I didn't say a word online. I didn't post a single thing. I didn't have to. Because the next post on her timeline was the video. That PI? He sent it anonymously to a group chat with her family and mutual friends. Her aunt commented, "Nicole, what is this?" Her cousin. You laughed about faking everything? After everything he did for you. One by one, her little army of enablers started going quiet. And Nicole? She lost her damn mind. She showed up at the motel that night, banged on the door like she was the FBI. I opened it just enough to see her face. Smudged makeup. Rage in her eyes. You think this is funny? She screamed. Sending that video to my family? To my church? You made the video, I said calmly. She pushed past me. Get out. I snapped, grabbing her wrist before she stormed in any further. We're done. This isn't your space. She yanked her arm free, furious. You want to play dirty? Fine. But you think this little pity tour makes you the hero? Please. You're pathetic. You couldn't keep me interested for 1 year without turning into a depressed little drone. I stayed silent. Because she wanted a reaction. She thrived off rage, off chaos. But I wasn't giving it to her. She scoffed, glancing around the motel room like it physically offended her. This is where you live now. She sneered. God, it smells like failure. I clenched my fists behind my back. Not because of the insult, but because of what came next. I filed a report with Child Services, she said coldly. Told them about your unstable mental state. About how you threatened me in front of the kids. Shouldn't be long now before you get a visit. That was it. That was the line. She didn't just want revenge. She wanted to destroy me through the only leverage I still had, Emily and Jason. You're really gonna drag the kids into this? I asked, stunned. She crossed her arms. It's war, remember? I pulled out my phone. Hit play. Her voice, crystal clear on the motel security footage. You think this little pity tour makes you the hero? You're pathetic. Then, I filed a report with Child Services. I recorded everything, I said. And I've already sent it to my lawyer. Along with the footage of you slapping Emily. Remember that Ring camera you didn't know I installed last year? It caught it all. She paled. Her voice broke. You're bluffing. I shook my head. This isn't bluffing. This is me, protecting my kids from you. From whatever monster you've become. She lunged forward, smacked the phone from my hand, and screamed, You ruined my life. The motel manager burst into the hallway seconds later. I just stepped back and said 2 words. Call the cops. Nicole was dragged out, kicking and screaming. That was the last time she ever set foot near me without a lawyer present. But I knew something was still coming. Because women like her don't let go, they just get nastier. A week after the motel incident, things got quiet. Too quiet. No angry texts. No voicemails. No cryptic Facebook posts. Just silence. Which, from someone like Nicole, was never peace. It was a setup. And then it came. I was at the courthouse with my lawyer finalizing the motion for emergency custody when my phone rang. It was Emily. She was sobbing so hard I could barely make out the words. Daddy, you need to come. Now. I didn't ask questions. I ran out of that building like the walls were collapsing behind me. When I got to the house, Jason was sitting on the front porch, hugging his niece. Emily was inside, pacing. Her eyes were puffy, cheeks stained with tears. What happened? I asked, heart racing. She said you hit her, Emily said, voice shaking. She called the police and told them you came by last night and grabbed her throat. She showed them a bruise on her neck. My jaw dropped. I wasn't even here last night. I know, Emily cried. We told them that. Jason and I said you weren't even near the house. But the cops said they had to take her statement seriously. That's when I heard the car doors slam. 2 officers walked toward me. Sir, we need to speak with you. Emily screamed. No. He didn't do anything. She made it up. I raised my hands, calmly. Officers, I have proof I wasn't here. Hotel security footage. Swipe card logs. My lawyer has everything. They exchanged glances. One of them nodded slowly. We're aware. That's why we're here. Then he pulled out a phone. On the screen was Nicole, recorded on a hidden nanny cam Emily had set up weeks ago. She didn't tell anyone. Not even me. In the video, Nicole stood in front of a mirror, applying makeup to her neck. Purple foundation. Smudged in a perfect oval, like a bruise. She practiced crying in the mirror, then stared into her phone and whispered, Let's see how he gets out of this one. The officer lowered the phone. We're pressing charges against her for filing a false report and child endangerment, he said. Jason looked up from the porch, stunned. She's going to jail? I knelt down beside him. She's going somewhere safe for you. That's all that matters now. Nicole was arrested that afternoon. Kicking, screaming, threatening lawsuits and vengeance, and you'll regret this, like she was auditioning for a soap opera. But no one cared anymore. Not the cops. Not the neighbors. Not even her family. The video went viral in our town. Everyone saw it. Everyone heard her fake cries and smug laughter. The sympathy she'd built vanished in hours. And suddenly, I wasn't the villain in her little play anymore. I was the guy who survived it. When the custody hearing came, the judge didn't even hesitate. Full custody. Restraining order. Mandatory psychiatric evaluation before she could see the kids again. Emily hugged me so tight I thought my ribs might crack. "Thank you," she whispered, "for not giving up on us." I held her tighter. Jason sat silently on the edge of the bench, staring down at the floor. "She lied to us too," he said. "I thought she was cool. I thought she loved us." "She loves herself," I said softly. "And sometimes, that's the most dangerous kind of person." But we were free now. At least, almost. Because there was still one final thing I had to do before I could close this chapter for good. The day after the custody ruling, I stood alone in what used to be our bedroom. The house was quiet now, too quiet. No yelling, no fake laughs, no lies floating through the walls like poison gas. Just silence. But for the first time in months, it didn't feel suffocating. It felt clean. I looked around at the things she left behind. Designer heels. Half a bottle of overpriced perfume. That robe she used to wear when she wanted to play innocent. All of it was staged. Props from a role she played too well. And me? I was the idiot in the front row applauding every act, until the mask slipped. A week had passed since she was arrested. Nicole's lawyer had tried to negotiate visitation rights, but the judge shut it down immediately. The footage of her faking abuse was all anyone needed to see. She'd lost everything. And for the first time in her life, she couldn't manipulate, seduce, or scream her way out of it. I walked through the house slowly, picking up traces of the life I thought we had. Family photos. Her wedding dress, still zipped in a dry cleaner bag. Jason's school awards. Emily's old stuffed animals. Then I found the file I'd given her years ago, letters I'd written when we first got married. Honest words. Hopeful. Naive. She'd used the paper as a bookmark. The book? How to Get Rich Without a Man. That stung more than I expected. But I didn't burn the house down. I didn't trash her things. I boxed them up, shipped them to her mother's place, and changed every lock on the property. I wasn't here for revenge anymore. I'd already won. The kids and I moved into my brother's lake house a week later. A fresh start. A place without ghosts. Emily slept better than she had in months. Jason laughed again. Slowly, the shadows started leaving their faces. And me? I finally started to breathe again. One night, Emily crawled into the chair next to me on the porch. "Dad?" "Yeah, kiddo. I'm glad she's gone. But I still feel messed up inside." I nodded. "That's okay. You're allowed to. She's still your mom. She lied to us." "She lied to everyone," I said. "But someday, you'll learn the difference between people who love you and people who need you for their own story." She nodded. "Are you going to date again?" I smiled, dry. "One day. But not yet. First, I'm going to remember who I am without her voice in my head." She hugged me, tight. "Don't worry," she whispered. "We're not going anywhere." Neither was I. That night, after the kids went to bed, I sat out on the deck with a bourbon in one hand and the cool breeze across the lake on my face. I thought about everything. The betrayal, the manipulation, the lies, the fake tears, the slaps, the damn video. But then I thought about the quiet, the space, the strength I found in the middle of my own collapse. And I realized something. She didn't break me. She revealed me. The version of me I'd buried for years, silent, numb, existing in her shadow, was finally dead. What was left now was real. Solid. Unshakable. If you're reading this and you're in a place where everything feels like it's falling apart, maybe it is. But maybe that's the only way to rebuild something stronger. Here's my advice. Trust your gut. Document everything. Protect your kids. Stay calm. And when the lies burn down around you, walk through the smoke, don't run from it. Because on the other side of that fire is something no one can take from you. Freedom. And it tastes better than anything she ever pretended to be.